Hey, Elaira is here with another Emergence with Elaira podcast episode. And this one is going to be a mini series here because I want to talk about embodied expansion process and I want to do several episodes about it. And I start this conversation about expansion in a very non-conventional way because I set up my podcast studio here in my inner yard. So it's literally sitting almost on the grass, my cats are around, nature is blooming because it's May and it's so beautiful and everything is breathing expansion and the sun is shining and I want to share something profound what I discovered, what actually it takes to have successful expansion, successful embodiment of expansion. What is at the core? What is that needle that moves everything? Because I have been through the expansion waves over and over again, really successfully. Sometimes not at all. Sometimes it goes like Speedy Gonzalez. It's fast and furious expansion. Like you hardly can take a breath. You just jump on the wave and ride the wave of expansion. Sometimes those expansions are slower, but besides the fact of the expansion itself, is it fast and furious and just takes you by the storm and changes and stretches you overnight, or it is slow and steady? I notice some patterns in myself and in people I support and observe. The thing is not about a time or how fast it is. The thing is, can you contain that? That's the question and that's the answer. And that's what I want to talk with you about. Applies to everything. This applies to your personal life. Applies to your relationship. This applies to your business. Applies to your visibility. Literally anything. So I'm talking in general about expansion process. I'm talking about your becoming and becoming in all areas of your life because this is our nature. We grow through expansion. We evolve. Our becoming goes through expansion. And yet we cannot really fully do it well. We don't know. We were never taught how to do it well. Our society, we tend to look, when we think about expansion, we tend to look into our vision. We tend to look into the beliefs we have to hold, affirmations, maybe take some action strategy towards that desired expansion. But as you probably figured out yourself, hard way, same as me here, that doesn't always guarantee how you will feel or if you will be successful. This is not at the core. And I mean, if you expand and you're numbed out or you burned out or you cannot feel the joy of it or gratitude of it, for me, this is not success that I'm talking about. What does it take to have successful expansion? What does it take really to have sustainable and embodied expansion? And the answer is containment. Can you contain within yourself, within your nervous system? Can you have the capacity to ride that expansion, to go with that expansion? And I feel this containment piece, containment of your expansion, is absolutely invisible part that nobody really talks about. And I want to bring that to the table because I think this is actually the essence of it. If you make it successfully or not, or you kind of sabotage and you fall down, fall short, or come back to the old, shrink back to the old. So a lot of people, as I said, focus on the strategy, on the vision, on the doing, just do it. But I feel like often we just do it a little bit naively without really contemplating what is our capacity, what do we need for our capacity, and can our nervous system actually hold that new size? So let's say you have some sort of accumulation of towards the vision of doing something, of acting on something. You want go towards something. and you want to expand, you want to scale, you want to grow, you want to be more visible, you want to go out there in the world, you want to start relationship or whatever expansion, keep that in mind, whatever you have at the moment, what is your expansion process? Often people are having that internal accumulation towards expansion, but the questions we never have, and we should, and that's why I'm having this conversation with you. Do you have actual capacity to metabolize it? And it can show in different ways. Like we sometimes block that before it even shows up at our door, like opportunity at our door or that possibility of expansion, because our nervous system is not ready and we kind of sabotage our ways not to see it, not to allow it. So it's like capacity to receive the expansion. Things are happening, life is lifing, and we just resisting that in a way instead of like allowing to receive what wants to come through us. So that's in a way, like you order something on Amazon or whatever shop, and then you get it delivered at the gate, but you don't open the gate. Like, where's my package? Why it's not happening? Why this expansion is not happening? Because I'm not allowing it. So first of all, you need the capacity there. Secondly, when it's happening and you say yes, and I'm allowing and I'm receiving it, can you hold, manage, and maintain that? Can you contain that expansion? Because what often happens, our nervous system is not there. It gets triggered. And that's the gap. Like desire is there. We want for it. We say yes. We go for it. But we go into dysregulation because container to hold it, to manage is not there. It's not built. Our nervous system doesn't have capacity to see it as safe. So the first threshold is the somatic threshold. The first thing of containment that comes, and actually the main one, is the somatic one. People think expansion is mainly mental, like dream it, envision it, believe, upgrade, goal setting. But you can't think your way into bigger nervous system. You cannot cheat the body. The body actually has to experience safety at the new frequency before the mind can trust it. Without that, you know what happens? We sabotage it. And sabotage happens as the protection, not as a failure, not that there's something wrong with you. It's just your nervous system doesn't feel safe with that expansion, even though you desire that. But your nervous system is not there yet, cannot hold that, cannot contain that safely. And because it perceives it as a threat, so you kind of 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, 1 foot forward, 1 foot stop. And this way you're sabotaging yourself and opportunities. And I had these conversations in meetings with people, like you talk about possibilities and you notice like when they reach the capacity edge and suddenly maybe the expansion is a little bit too big of expansion, and how they start to sabotage the conversation and how they start to kind of talk from protection, or even like not being there, not in the connection, not from openness. Like suddenly everything goes like, how do I protect myself? How do I set boundaries? How do I do things to get away from this? All kind of numbing out or dissociation can kick in, and things cannot go this way. Expansion is kind of not contained this way. And let me give you some examples. Like, for example, you start new relationship, intimate relationship, after many years not having one. And the beginning of this expansion can feel very triggering, because what your nervous system does, what the language it speaks, it says, yeah, but remember when we had this last time, these bad things happened. So you, in a way, you have to come back where you left. You have to revisit all these why not, old, maybe integrate old little things that were not integrated. So at the beginning, expansion can be really triggering, even if it's a good one, even if it's the one you want and everything is going on the right path, but it can be really activating for your nervous system and may not feel safe. The same goes with opportunities in business, in visibility, especially one. So your nervous system always brings back to the past experiences where you had this and it didn't work out. And or it can be totally new thing you never experienced. And that for nervous system is also threatening because it doesn't know how to deal with it. There's our nervous system is here to protect us. So it will choose familiar hell, but it knows how to deal with it, then unfamiliar heaven. So we have to help our nervous system expansion to titrate, to show that it's safe to go into that new reality, new possibility, new version of yourself. Because everything what is uncertain, unfamiliar, it's a threat because your nervous system doesn't know how to deal with it, and it's literally just trying to protect you. Our nervous system role here is to help you to survive, but it will not help you to thrive unless you build that capacity. That's why I'm talking often not about nervous system survival modes. It's important to know that. Very, very essential language for us. But nervous system expansion, because that's the work, that's the stretch. And the somatic experience is titrating towards expansion. So when expansion comes, your nervous system can hold it. So it's all about the containment. Can you contain that expansion without your nervous system not crashing or not sabotaging because it feels a threat? And it is always not comfortable. It is always new. It is always some growing pains, right? Even if it's exciting, if it even is something you always wanted. But even the goodness and overwhelm of the goodness, of visibility, of recognition can be too much and overbearing if and trigger a lot of feelings if you used to not be seen, not being recognized, not being visible. So nervous system recalibration is for me at the core of building the containment of your expansion. And second part is very related to this, but it's a little bit twist of it, let's put it that way, is the identity. Because often these expansions takes us to different form of identity. And we all have a lot of identities during the day, right? We are the brother, the mother, the entrepreneur, the teacher, the guide, the lover. Like we have so many. And we don't even think about it. But in this society, in human experience construct, we experience ourselves through some sort of compound identities box. And our growth also feels like upgrade or change or becoming of those identities. So one of the things why we cannot hold the expansion or contain the expansion is our identity didn't shift yet. So it can be that your external circumstances shifted and maybe faster than your internal sense of self. And you may be standing in a new space, but you haven't become the person who can naturally belong there. You know what I mean? That mismatch creates a constant pullback and dissonance. For example, if you received big amount of money, or again, bigger visibility, but if your identity is not matched, I am the person who holds bigger wealth now. If your identity, for example, is like, I have to survive, it's not safe to hold money, you will sabotage that new opportunity and money will like slip through the fingers. The same with visibility, because it requires certain capacity to metabolize the projection field or sense of self. If you don't have that, I am public figure, I'm visible person, and this is who I am, it will sabotage. If you feel like I'm exposed, I cannot hold the people projections, you will shrink back to that hiding place. And look at the nature. The mother example came into my mind now. mother has 9 months to prepare herself towards the mother identity. And still, it's not like, now I'm ready. It's in the shaping, it's in the becoming. But nature knows that you need time to titrate. In other words, like the baby steps to like shift internally. And it gives 9 months for that, to prepare for this identity shift. And if this internal shift doesn't happen, and baby arrives and mother never had like capacity to shift towards that, then there's identity crisis, then there's like postpartum depression, and there's no containment in a healthy way of that expansion. Or even with children, identity shift, when there's one child and suddenly the second arrives, and there is this identity shift of falling from the throne, I think it's called, where suddenly it's not all about you have to adapt to these changed roles and dynamics in the family. Suddenly your role, your identity changes of being like main focus of attention. And if this is not handled properly, this expansion is also not successful. There are a lot of issues, and behavioral and emotional and maybe even trauma. So identity needs to shift, and in order to contain the expansion and embody the expansion in a healthy way. Otherwise, we will never go faster than our capacity is capable of. And if we go faster than that, it's simply not sustainable. And it's simply, we will come back very quickly to where actually our capacity is, by sabotaging it, or by refusing it, or not by being able to manage that. So containment is key. And I want to have this conversation with you because, again, I notice a lot of people, majority, almost all people, are focusing on the strategy or what they need to do, of like what they want in the mental body, but we never have the conversation of capacity. And that's where usually we fall. And this is usually where they stick in the wheel. So it's so important to prepare yourself, like to contemplate that part. Like if you know you're going through the process of expansion, or you preparing yourself to, so what do you need to have to contain that expansion? Do you need more support? Do you need more contemplation time? Do you need to take it slower? Do you need to give yourselves time and space to process emotions? Do you notice your body pace? What do you need? And the last part, the third part that I notice is important into containing the expansion, and this is the witnessing of your growth. To be witnessed by community, to be witnessed by people, to be witnessed by society, your surroundings, because we all are relational beings. And even if we, let's say, change, but if the world doesn't mirror back or doesn't reflect that back, this is part of this successful rite of passage, the completion into the new identity, new version, new phase of your becoming. We need to be recognized, we need to be welcomed. And again, community doesn't mean traditional community way, tribal community way. We are modernizing, we as humanity, as community, we also evolving. We don't have to go into that tribal way unless it feels right to you. But we all have community, even if it's a line, even if it's a family, even if it's a client or some sort of collaboration team. It's also evolving, but we need that relational aspect to be witnessed, to be seen, to be recognized. And this is, again, as I said, the completion of rite of passage in your initiation, in your expansion. And actually, what I'm sharing here is at the core of what I'm supporting people with. This is what my signature program, Rise Voice, is about: to build your embodied leadership, to build your capacity to receive, hold, and handle more, and also to be witnessed and also to be supported in containing that expansion. So you can go faster, but also, in a pace of your nervous system expansion. So if you're going through some sort of expansion, initiation, transition in your life, it can be ambitious, it can be your becoming, it can be your rite of passage. I would love to support you and invite you in this masterpiece of the program I created, where I support for you to step into your power and your potential and your desired expansion, creating your life, your work, yourself, your relationships the way you want, them to expand, but with support and with containment of that expansion. So if you feel in your body that's something you need in order to expand, reach out to me. You will find the link to the program somewhere in the notes. But now I want to leave you with a question, with the reflection question. What do you need to build capacity for in order to expand? Or what are you building capacity for in your expansion? And when you think about the desire, the vision, imagine living it. What is immediate reaction in your body? What happens somatically? Because your body is showing where your capacity edge is and what is needed. So sit with that, feel into that. What are you building capacity for? Or what do you need to build capacity for? Be honest and just notice what comes up intuitively, immediately when I ask this question. And as I mentioned earlier, I will have part 2 of embodied expansion process. So stay tuned if you're subscribed. If you're not, subscribe, and you will hear from me soon. And now give yourself a moment and feel your body. Close your eyes and let this information, this episode, go through your body, anchor in your body. Let it feel how it touches you and what sensations it brings up.